The number of necessary troops is 0 in Portland and any other American city. And let me repeat that. This is an American city. We do not need any intervention. This is not a military target. The president will not find lawlessness or violence here. I am so deeply disappointed with the federal government's irresponsibility.
This is not a military target. Seriously, this is where we are now, folks. Hi, my name is Suri Crowe, and you're watching MeidasTouch Network. We are now living in a nation where the president of the United States is targeting the American people and the cities that we live in. Instead of protecting us, Donald Trump is harming us not only with his horrific, cruel policies, from ripping healthcare away from millions of us to stealing our money and taking billions for himself and his fellow billionaire cronies. And now he's sending in the U.S. military to target yet another American city, commanding American troops to use full force if he deems necessary.
And you talked about how this was just the beginning and it was going to get worse. Yeah. You were unfortunately very correct about that. What we're hearing, the rhetoric has ratcheted up in a way, because the president is saying that he is, quote, authorizing full force if necessary. Full force means killing American citizens, killing people on the streets, that the military, whether it's the National Guard or ICE or whomever, has been authorized to kill people who live in this country on the streets because they disagree, because they're protesting, because they're whatever. That's, help me understand.
This is bad, bad, bad. This is exactly what I was forecasting when we were together in June and talking about, as the news broke of the deployments into Los Angeles, the administration had this very, very thin veneer of legitimacy for why they were going into Los Angeles. And they and their allies said troops are being deployed into American cities to help with immigration enforcement, to help with this massive deportation operation. And when we spoke about that at the time, my point was, it is not that. Yeah. That is the justification they're using for the moment. But Trump will eventually be deploying American troops into American cities for things unrelated to immigration to consolidate power. And now they've done that by announcing this here in Portland, that they didn't mention immigration at all. I mean, maybe they said they're going to protect ICE facilities, but the point was to go into war-ravaged Portland and, like you said, use full force. So they've completely gotten rid of the justification that these troops are going in to aid with immigration enforcement. They are going in now to advance the president's agenda. And that idea of full force is especially alarming because we have seen the Trump War Department engaged in illegal strikes in our hemisphere. They are engaging in strikes against boats of drug runners, allegedly, without any authorization from Congress and without the normal justification under the laws of war. Those same types of egregious actions and uses of the military could now, under that logic, be brought into the American homeland. That's how dramatic this is.
Yeesh, that is scary as fuck. Total lawlessness. He's absolutely lawless. And to be clear, Portland is pretty damn chill. I mean, it's Portland, for fuck's sake. As this tweet from Canada Hates Trump says, Portland, Oregon, the most dangerous battlefield in America. You never know when the next farmer's market might pop off. The smell of artisanal sourdough hangs in the air. You hear that? That's the sound of a kombucha keg about to blow. Better roll in the tanks. God help us all. And then there's a photo of a downtown farmer's market in Portland with beautiful sunflowers. And I mean, it's just gorgeous. And then this Uber driver decided to go out one night, a couple days ago and film on the scene outside of the ICE detention facility to see just how violent it was. And here's what she found.
Uber driver from Portland, Oregon. It's September 27th, 2025. And I recorded this video around 7 p.m. I'm on my way to drive for the night. And I understand that our ICE office is reportedly under siege. So I live not too far from it. And so on my way into town, I thought I'd stop by and see for myself what is actually happening. As you can see, there's a lot of people standing around, taking pictures, waving signs. There's some tables set up with snacks and drinks. So, if this is maybe siege is the new word for party, I don't know, but this is what's happening outside of the ICE office in Portland, Oregon. Again, September 27th around 7 p.m. And just posting this for a little bit of accountability. I just wanted to post this because if there is a siege, it might be what happened here in Portland last time, which was peaceful protests are tear gassed, or there's some other act of violence against the protesters by the feds or the police. Then the protesters get pissed, and then the feds turn around and use that as a cause to call them a riot and then, do more violence against them. So if there is a siege, that'll be probably the reason.
And then here is former federal prosecutor, now he's turned journalist, Ankush Kadori's view on the whole insane situation.
I do think, I think he would like to see an actual conflagration in one of these cities. It's worth noting, he backed off Chicago. And
Memphis, apparently.
Yeah, it's unclear what's happening with Memphis. And the polling around the deployments of the National Guard, both in LA and DC, was net negative, quite net negative. It was very negative in LA, less so, but still way underwater for people's approval of sending in the National Guard in DC. And Trump, of course, is way underwater generally now with his approval rating. So I don't quite understand the political logic of why they keep doing this, because I don't think it's helping them, except to appeal to their base. But in terms of what they actually hope to achieve on the ground, nothing good. The thing that I would like to just, by the way, this is a gigantic waste of money.
Yeah.
This has been lost in all of this discussion about Trump's deployments of National Guard to these. It's a gigantic waste of money.
Massive waste of taxpayer dollars. What else is new with this regime? And then Miles Taylor, who is also on Trump's target list and his revenge tour. I'm certain he's up next for, likely indictment, which is pathetic. But here's what Miles Taylor had to say about this.
I think the operative word is what Ankush just said: conflagration. Yeah. Okay. I had the dubious, dishonor of getting daily phone calls and meetings with Stephen Miller when I was in the first Trump administration. And guys like Stephen Miller want to create a spectacle, and they want to incite violence, because that gives the administration the perceived justification to crack down harder. I actually think they were quite disappointed that Los Angeles didn't result in more violent riots, that in Washington, D.C., that didn't happen. They're trying to find cities where they're expecting that to happen. They are trying to goad a reaction. So it's great that leaders in Portland have said it's very important that people keep their cool. That is crucial. But they want the justification for a further crackdown using national security powers. And these designations of groups like Antifa, this is not symbolic. Yeah. These are not just press releases. They are building the architecture to start designating Democratic groups, protest groups, the opposition as terrorists, and to build that under the same system that we use to go after ISIS and Al-Qaeda in the post 9/11 era.
Yep. They're looking to goad us into a reaction. And then the Department of Defense, or newly named Department of War, although illegally so, because Trump was supposed to have congressional approval to do that, although when did he ever follow the rule of law, appears to be in search of just that: wars, even if it means declaring war on American citizens. What kind of delusion are we enduring here? Here's Oregon Democratic Representative Janelle Byman.
This is the Department of War in search of a war. Is that an assessment you agree with?
Yeah, what he's trying to do is use our National Guardsmen as toy soldiers, and none of them signed up for that. Yesterday, we had a town hall just called at a moment's notice. We had over 13,000 people participate, and one of the callers said, "I'm a veteran. I don't like this. We didn't sign up for this." And they're telling us over and over again, we don't know where the president's getting his information from, but it's certainly not true.
Well, the Oregon Attorney General is now suing the Trump administration over this nonsense. And in every case so far, it's likely that Trump is going to lose, because what he is doing is illegal and insane. And there's this bizarre gathering that Secretary of Defense, War, Pete Hegseth ordered, calling military leaders from all around the globe to gather at Quantico on Tuesday morning. And I mean all of them, all right? And now Trump is reportedly joining too, which is not normal because the military is supposed to be apolitical. Like, so is the DOJ, so is the military. But Trump has made this entire regime all about loyalty and fealty to him.
I was at the Pentagon, and this is unprecedented. You would never have this many flag officers fly in from all around the world, even just from a security perspective.
Right.
To put all of those people in the same place is a weird thing to do, is an unnecessary thing to do. What I don't buy is that they are just there for a rally the troops conversation. Mark my words, that is not what's happening here. Some sort of significant policy announcement is going to be made, and at a very bare minimum, these officers are going to be intimidated and told, you're either on the team or not on the team. And that team isn't Team America, it's Team Trump.
So freaking exhausting. And just, isn't it so reassuring, but also so on brand for these authoritarian thugs? Here's what Max Rose, a veteran and former New York congressman, had to say about this.
All of this amidst continued conversations about quote unquote lethality. We have the Secretary of Defense calling in 800 generals into one location. By the way, not a smart idea to put all of our nation's greatest national security minds
their senior
in one
NCOs
room.
too.
And their senior NCOs, who are the ones that are really the backbone of the United States military. But they're constantly talking about lethality, which is code for we kill our enemies. Yeah. Fine, you want to be
warrior ethos.
The warrior ethos. This from a Secretary of Defense who couldn't even make Lieutenant Colonel in the National Guard or pass Army Ranger School. But let's not even go onto personal attacks. Lethality, we kill our enemies, we do this and that. Fine, then why are you talking about Portland, Oregon? Yeah. Why are you deporting the family members of veterans? Why are we dedicating the time of active duty service members to scrubbing social media announcements from 5 years ago about Black History Month? Why does it look like they're waging war on the transgender community and not on foreign terrorists? The extent of their lethality goes so far as the strength of the Secretary of Defense's hair gel and nothing else.
I mean, it's funny, but it's true. It's so true. And Hegseth and Trump and Miller and Homan and all of them in this regime just smack of weakness. Just smack of absolute weakness and inadequacy. None of them are up to doing the job of serving the American people. And I pray that these military leaders remember what and not who they pledged loyalty to. And that's to the Constitution, to represent the American people. But what worries me, quite frankly, is that Hegseth in his insecurity has fired so many of the best military leaders from the 1-stars all the way above. He's fired tons of them. And what's left is either low-ranking officers or of the 1-stars and above, just Trump loyalists. And that we may be left with either, these Trump loyalists or lower ranking officers or enlisteds who don't have the education or experience to recognize the critical point that we're in right now and the danger that we are in, and perhaps may follow this authoritarian regime blindly. I mean, this is going to be a real litmus test for these leaders at Quantico to make a decision, because I'm certain that's what Trump and Hegseth are going to demand. You're either with us or you're out. Really a scary situation. And, I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong about what they choose to do. But we keep hearing this. It's unprecedented, but this has never happened before in the history of America. But what I do know is that this violent regime is looking for a fight. And we, the American people, cannot take their bait, because that's what they want us to do. They want us to get violent and to fight back. And the second we do that, they are going to impose their martial law and say, there we go. Now we have the excuse to just lock down and go to war with everyone across the nation. We must resist and oppose them at every single level, but we absolutely must do it peacefully and fight back through the courts and through our opposition and through our protests, but do it peacefully. And so, as I say every time I wrap this up, man, be fierce, but do it peacefully. I'll see you back here soon.
Love this video? Support independent media and unlock exclusive content, ad-free videos, and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today. You can also gift memberships to others. Let's keep growing together.